Hey everyone, good morning and happy Wednesday. We'll give everyone a minute to join before we begin. All right, let's go ahead and get things started here. Thank you everyone for joining us today to learn how general contractors and subcontractors can take advantage of Fieldwire to improve their QA/QC process. My name is Pranati Gompa and I'm a construction success manager here at Fieldwire. Before we begin, I would like to address a few housekeeping items. To ensure a smooth session, attendees will be muted, but please don't hesitate to ask any question you may have in the Q&A panel. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can. And for any questions we don't get to, our experts will reach out to you directly. We also have some poll questions during the webinar for you to participate in. Please feel free to select your answer when the question pops up. Additionally, we have a short 5-question survey at the end of the webinar, which we would really appreciate if you could take a time to fill it out. This survey helps us to determine the usefulness of the content we deliver and also help us to plan for our future webinars. So before we dive into the webinar, I have a couple of poll questions. So let's just take a couple of seconds to fill those out. And here comes your first question. Awesome, thank you. There's just another quick question that's coming up right here, and there you go. Awesome. So without much further ado, I would welcome one of our construction success managers, Brent Collins. Brent.
Awesome. Thank you, Pranati, and thank you everybody for your participation in those survey questions. Here's today's agenda. First, I'll give you an introduction to myself with a brief slide, and then a Fieldwire and quality control overview with a couple of slides. And then we'll hop into the live demo. So we have two parts of the demo. First, with myself, showing you basic and advanced quality control workflows within the Fieldwire platform. And then also we have a special guest from the California High-Speed Rail Project, and he will be showing their Fieldwire quality control workflow as well. So please stay tuned for that. And then finally, like Pranathi said, we'll have a quick Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So my name is Brent Collins. I'm also a CSM, like Pranathi said. Had over 10 years of construction experience in the industry. Worked my way from a PE all the way to PM, mostly in California and Iowa on projects small and large, anywhere from retail, TI to mission critical data centers. Areas of expertise, you know, throughout my career, wore many hats like most of you here today. So yeah, happy to be here, and I hope you guys get something out of this presentation. So quick, what is Fieldwire? Fieldwire is built to help you and your field and office teams save time and money through an intuitive and collaborative project management software. We aim to improve productivity of all Fieldwire users by giving everyone a tool to manage their daily activities on a single platform. We provide real-time progress tracking, messaging, and quick access to latest project documents while improving standardization, collaboration, and communication between the office and field. With Fieldwire, your construction documents are stored electronically and accessible both on and offline. This allows your team to always have access to important project documents and minimize the risk of delays due to lack of information. So real quick, what are we going to be focusing here today? The main features are going to be tasks specifically pinned to exact locations on the plans, checklists for standardization, task attributes and statuses to help you further customize your task workflows, tags to help identify the workflow of all your various tasks, and then finally, we're going to be incorporating your quality control forms in these workflows as well. Some of the benefits, hopefully these workflows can help you out with creating and standardizing or enhancing your quality control processes, improve overall organization, enhance access to current and historical documentation as it applies to quality control, and increase collaboration across all project and company stakeholders. Finally, just providing overall visibility of ongoing quality control processes. So I think we have one more survey question before we get started with the presentation. So Pranathi, can you go ahead and hit that? So yeah, so are you looking to improve your QA/QC processes on your project or within your company? Yes or no? So we'll give you guys a couple of seconds here to select a yes or no prompt. All right, thank you guys again for your participation in the survey, and let's get going. Let's hop into Fieldwire. You guys probably recognize this. This is our homepage here. First, before we get started, want to draw attention to our new tutorial page. So we've kind of revamped that a little bit here. So we've created tailored playlists for the different user preferences. So if you scroll down here below, we have a table of content. So basically, all of our content are organized by these particular user types. So for instance, like the admin playlist is going to have information for plan uploads and plan management, while the mobile playlist is going to have stuff like tutorials on viewing and marking up plans. So with this setup, you won't have to waste time kind of aimlessly searching through videos to locate what you need. So a much better process here. So going back to the homepage, I have a ton of projects. So each one of these individual thumbnails that you see is an individual Fieldwire project. We have various ways that we can organize these though. You can use the star feature. So all of the projects that you're in most of the time will go all the way up to the top of your list. We have a system here where we can create project labels. We have filtering tools so you can easily find the projects that you're looking for, or a search platform as well. Sorry, of course my computer's freezing right now. There we go. So I'm doing a quick search here to find the project that we're going to be in most of the time here today. So let me go ahead and open that up. So a quick rundown of the Fieldwire layout within a project. So over here on the left-hand side, this is our main toolbar. It's always going to be present when you're on the web version. So if you ever need to navigate to a different module, a different feature, it's easy as a click of a button here. So if you need to go from plans to photos, it's instantaneous. So this is how you're going to navigate through each individual Fieldwire project. Today, just to reiterate, we're going to be focusing on plans and tasks mostly. We're not going to be in the forms module, but we will be talking about our forms feature. So without further ado, let's hop into the task feature to start out. So what is a task? A task is a live and collaborative tool that we can create to track any item of work or activity in the field. Whether it's an unforeseen condition, a delay, a schedule item, an issue, or a quality control workflow, Fieldwire Tasks is the perfect solution for tracking and collaborating on progress and completion. So this is our main task view. So all of your different quality control tasks are going to be organized by status. So this setup enables both general contractors and subcontractors to easily see all pending, late, failed, or scheduled quality control processes as soon as they enter the platform. So I've set up these statuses for a quality control progression, but we can easily change these. So if you just hover over one of these statuses and hit that cog, this window will open up. So if you guys have any internal quality control processes that you'd like to follow within Fieldwire, we can easily replicate that for you. Next, or finally, from this, lastly on this task view, you probably noticed these down here. These are our different categories. Pretty easy to create one down here. So if I'm a general contractor, I might set up my task categories to be all of the different trades or subcontractors. Doing so is going to allow clear assignment of tasks to specific subcontractors, streamlining communication and delegating responsibility. As a sub, I might want to do something different. I might want to set it up according to my schedule of values. Doing so enables subcontractors to better track and manage issues that directly impact their schedule or payment milestones. So that's basically how we're setting up our quality control tasks as it applies to categories and statuses. Next, we're going to be mostly in the plans module here. The reason being is we want to manage our quality control workflows from this module because personnel generally have a strong familiarity with the plans. Now, personnel might struggle to locate documentation that's scattered throughout a project trailer, in the back of somebody's pickup, or somewhere else on the Fieldwire platform. But again, users generally have a very strong familiarity with the plans. So this is where we're going to orchestrate all of our quality control workflows. So I'm going to scroll down. We have some structural drawings, and let's say we're a general contractor or a subcontractor, and we're managing the concrete process. So we're going to start with something that's pretty basic here. So what we want to do is we want to walk the site as a sub or GC, subcontractor or a quality control manager, and we want to ensure that all concrete embeds are installed prior to concrete placement. As you know, this is very crucial because drilling and epoxying afterwards takes a lot of time and a lot of additional inspections. So what I would do is I would walk this area, and once a deficiency or an embed is noticed that's missing, I can create a task pin to the exact location where this is missing. This database is going to open up. I can provide a photo and show exactly the locations that these embeds are missing. I have my rebar shop drawings that's going to, now I have my approved documentation to help me on my quality control walk. And I'm able to set my status. So I want to set my applicable status for this quality control workflow. That's going to be issue identified. And then we're going to set a category. So we want to either assign responsibility or a particular schedule of value. And then we can assign it to someone within the Fieldwire platform, or we can even email this out to somebody that's off the platform, like somebody that needs to see it, that they don't, someone that might not have a license. And then finally, we want to tag it. So why do we want to tag it? We have status to identify, well, the status. We have a category so we can associate it with a particular subcontractor or schedule of value. But the tag is going to identify the particular workflow, QA, QC, or punch, or delay, whatever you're tracking within Fieldwire, specifically today, quality control. Also, when we use this tag to create reports, all QA, QC items that I create is going to automatically get sent or added to that specific report. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this report is a report template that I created, and the only filter I have on it is QA, QC, that particular tag. Now, across all the different categories and statuses, this report's going to pull in all of my quality control items. Again, this report here can be sent to people on or off the platform, and you can schedule this report to be sent daily, weekly, or monthly. Very handy tool. Now, let's say we come back a couple days later, we notice that this issue has been fixed. What we can do is we can upload or take a updated progress photo and then change the status to ready for inspection. So as people access this sheet, by the color of this task, they can see that these issues have been fixed and ready for inspection. Now, one more simple example, pretty much the same thing, but just a different category, a different responsibility. So we noticed that a sewer riser is missing before we place concrete, pretty crucial. Again, we upload a photo, we show exactly, based off the outside or interior of the formwork, where that sewer riser needs to be and the particular dimension. We have the correct status. The only thing different, right, we still have the tag QA/QC, so it's going to be added to our report. The only thing different is the category is plumbing. Again, very basic and simple workflows that you could pretty much start doing on Fieldwire today. Cool. Now let's move on to something maybe a little bit more complex here. So with this strategy, what we want to do is we want to utilize what's called a parent task. And that's going to be a singular source for updates and access to documentation for this entire field operation. Again, another concrete pour on a much larger slab. Now, we still want to identify all the individual deficiencies, but what we want to do is we want to link those back to our parent task. Again, so we have one location that we have to go to for any kind of tracking or updates. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to import a checklist, and this checklist is going to help these processes be standardized. So as I go out into the field with my iPad, I can identify an issue on that checklist. I can mark it deficient. I can go to that specific location where I see the defect, in this case, a rebar tying issue. So I can open up that task. I provide the photo. I notify the location of all the rebar that's not tied correctly. Go ahead and hit done. And then what I want to do is I want to link that back to the related task. Just type in the number, and then now my task is linked. Pretty easy process. Eventually, I can go ahead and refresh my screen here. Now that task, I have all my deficiencies up here. As soon as I open up this task, I know what's open and what's completed. Furthermore, I've linked all my quality control reports or documentation that I need to be filling out on a regular basis. So you can use this checklist or you can leverage this on a particular form. Now this form is live. It can be created or linked via this task, a place for all your signatures as well, for all the individual sign-offs that you need for this particular operation. Any RFIs or shop drawings, so any corresponding documentation that has to do with this operation out in the field. And then on the right-hand side, basically the same thing, right? We apply a status that is applicable to the current status of this operation. We apply a category, and then we have a tag. Notice that the tag here is a little bit different. Why is that? It's because we imported this checklist. So if I import an existing checklist that I've created beforehand, the name of this checklist is automatically going to be the tag of this particular task. Why is that important? It's because every time this checklist is used, it's going to be on a standard, it's going to be on a standardized process. So anytime I use this checklist, that task again is going to be added to the report that I'm generating and sending out and reviewing on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So I've created another report leveraging this, this particular tag. And now my update, again, is in one centralized location. My related tasks are my deficiencies. It's going to show me the status of each, and it's going to show me the status of my checklist and the quality control form, which is 100% live. I can click that and download it, and there it is. So again, think about this task. So let's say I'm a subcontractor, general contractor, what have you. I'm starting my day. I just get into the office. Where do I go to find approved shop drawings, RFIs, or up-to-date quality control documentation? What happens if someone's sick or on vacation? How do we find the documentation that they're responsible for? Where do our subs or inspectors go to collaborate with our quality control documentation for sign-offs? The answer to all these questions is on the plans and within the task. So how much time and heartache would this save you and your team if you have over 100 quality control processes on a project? Let's go back to the plans tab and let's go inside a building and see how we can apply this to finishes or a rough-in process. As you know, in-wall inspections, they're the gateway to starting your finishes. Whether you're a GC or a subcontractor, it's a crucial process and can negatively affect a project schedule if not managed efficiently. Let's take a look at how Fieldwire can help. So we have a series of standardized tasks, and we're using these tasks to track and communicate the when each room is ready or have passed their inspections, their rough-in inspections. Let's go to room 2-109. Now this task is from the perspective of an electrical subcontractor. So we've created this task that can actually be duplicated to any and all applicable locations. So we don't have to create these tasks for every single room from scratch. So we have a checklist representing a series of components that need to be checked in every single room. Again, this helps with process standardization and helps your team avoid lingering issues. For every checklist issue that we have here, we have a corresponding related task. So again, we have one centralized location where we can manage, document, update, all of our deficiencies for this room. Now, this is an example of related tasks that aren't actually pinned to exact locations. You can see the difference between this task shape and this one. This means that it's not associated with a plan sheet, but again, we have it on the parent task, so we know where to find them. So this is applicable for maybe areas that are very small and you don't really need to pin them on the actual drawings. So we can just hit plus new task, enter a name, and then go in and change all the different attributes. Again, we have a checklist that we imported for electrical, and it automatically tagged our report, which is great because again, we have another report that is being automatically generated. So as we add these tasks, our report is always up to date and ready to be sent out at a moment's notice. Now you probably noticed, again, we have, just like all the other tasks, categories, rough in, tag, we have something down here called inspection status. You might not see this on your task. That's because this is a customized task attribute that I created. Now you can use this for status, but I've created this drop-down menu just to kind of show you that these tasks can be further customized depending on what your workflow is and what you actually want to track from task to task. So let me go up here. So on any task, you can hit this cog. It's going to take you to this manage task attributes if you have the business tier. So you can turn off particular tasks that you're not using, or you can add additional tasks, a short text, which is a free text field, a numerical value, or a custom list like I just showed you. And you can add up to 20 of them per project. Just wanted to highlight that real quick. So once this task is created, you can, highlight this particular area to show that it's ready for inspection or that it has passed inspection. Now, let's say I'm a general contractor. So I'm going to hop into room 2-111 here. Open up that task. Again, we're using this for in-wall inspections to track the progress. And instead of tracking, we have more of a general checklist instead of a step-by-step checklist because our company or our ownership on this particular project is enforcing us to fill out, a more formal type of documentation. So the checklist is basically a part of our quality control documentation. All the subs that are signed off on it, our GC signature, so our quality control manager signature. So we have more of a generalized checklist. The reason being is, let's say, you have a report of maybe 50 or 60 different tasks, right? You don't want to have to go into each individual task and open a form to see the update. So this generalized checklist is going to let you know what's outstanding on the form and kind of where you are in this process in this area from a more general perspective. Very helpful with a lot of my customers that I work with. The related tasks, again, are pinned to exact locations. And again, according to the checklist that I'm using here, this task is tagged accordingly automatically. So I don't really have to worry about the tag as long as I'm using the same checklist from area to area. Again, if I'm a subcontractor, a general contractor, I'm coming in and I need an update or I need to collaborate on a particular form somewhere in this project, what's the answer again? On the plans in the tasks. So have your plans basically be your ultimate filing cabinet. Hopefully that was a little bit of help. I'm going to go back to the task view real quick and just show you some quick filtering options. So instead of just generating a report for all of our different workflows here, we can also filter by those tags as well. So the GC in-wall checklist, and finally our QA/QC checklist or QA/QC tag. So two different options. Or three different options. You can go to the plans, you can filter via tasks, or you can generate reports. So With that, I'd like to turn things over to Vince Anichich, who is the certification and configuration manager for the California High-Speed Rail project. I've had the opportunity to witness firsthand their quality control process on Fieldwire, and I'm glad he's able to join us and share their success with us.
Thanks, Brent. So like Brent said, I'm Vince Anichich. I'm the certification and configuration manager for one of the 3 design build contracts that are building the California high-speed rail system right now. Our particular one is a 65-mile section that includes, I think, around 53 structures, including roadway overheads and structures that directly support the high-speed rail system. I forget, 16 million cubic yards of fill, something along those lines. And so it's a very large project and extremely important for us to stay on top of our documentation. So we started using Fieldwire a little over a year ago on our project. And we've been really trying to take advantage of a lot of the features that are built into it. So one of the issues we had early on, go ahead.
Vince, real quick, can you share your screen?
Yep, I'm about to right now.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Let me know when you can see it.
Good to go.
All right. So one of the problems we had early on in this project is because of how vast it is, we have a lot of inspectors out in the field, looking at a lot of different work and producing their reports. We didn't have a real unified system of documenting the work in the beginning. Basically, we had our checklists that pertained to particular work, but if an inspector went out and work was incomplete, we would require at least 2 checklists to demonstrate that that work was completed. It was very hard for us to know if a single report covered all the work or if we needed multiple reports, and it was a lot of sifting through paperwork when we were getting complete to try to figure out where we stood. So one of the things we've been able to do since using Fieldwire is take advantage of the task function to basically create tasks that encompass our checklists. So what we do with that is basically now we don't rely on the individual inspectors' reports to demonstrate compliance alone. The inspectors are doing their reports in more of a daily inspection report format. They are linking their reports to the task. Once we've demonstrated that all the items we need to check are complete because of the backup documentation we have a quality engineer check them off, and then we can export the task in its own report to demonstrate that the work was done correctly. So for us, it's made it incredibly more manageable. It's really easy for us to know when we're done now versus before, we would know that the construction was done. We'd have to go back and find the documentation associated with it. If you're dealing with turnover or anything like that, or paper documentation, it meant that we'd have to scan things or track down the inspector that actually did the inspections. So now they're doing all their inspections in Fieldwire. We're producing a task that summarizes all the checklist items, and then we're having our quality control engineers verify that those tasks are complete based on the backup documentation that we have. So for us, it's helped us keep it very centralized. We're also using the forms that are in Fieldwire, which I know Brent didn't really get into in detail, but basically our inspectors are using their iPads, using the forms function to create their reports. Once all the work is complete and we have enough forms to demonstrate that the work is complete, quality control engineer checks off the items in the actual task. And once all those items are checked, we'll be able to export the task as a report to basically hand over to the owner and demonstrate that we completed the work we're supposed to. So I think that about summarizes how we're using it. Some other things that are useful that have come along since we started doing this is account level checklists. So that's been really big for us because basically now our quality control checklists are living at the account level and they're imported into each site that we have a project set up for. So that's made things a lot quicker when we're setting up our checklist for individual sites. Anything else in particular?
No, that's great, Vince. Thank you so much for going over this workflow on your project. And thank you so much, Brent, for just taking us through different use cases of how people can use QA/QC processes using Fieldwire. Also, before we dive into the Q&A session, I have a last poll for you guys here. And there we go. Awesome. Thank you. And let's dive into the Q&A session. We have quite a few questions here. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put it in the question Q&A panel of the webinar. And let's get started. Brent, so can a list of tasks be imported or copied to other jobs, like repeated offenses?
Can you repeat that question, Pranathi? And also, I can go ahead and share my screen again if you'd like.
Yes. Let's go ahead. Yep. Yeah, so can a list of tasks be repeated across different projects, imported or copied to other jobs?
One thing you can leverage actually is the importing of tasks. So what I could do is I can use this task importer to import multiple tasks all at once. So let me kind of show you what I'm trying to do here. So let's say I have a series of tasks, maybe in an Excel spreadsheet. I can come into Fieldwire here, import those tasks. And voila, I imported them actually on a particular plan sheet. Let me get rid of my task filter here. So all these diamonds here that you see down below are the tasks that I just imported into this one particular plan sheet. And then from here, I can drag and drop them into their specific locations. So I can import those tasks from my Excel spreadsheet into any project that I need to. Hopefully that addresses your question.
Awesome. The next question is, are you limited to how many different statuses you may have on a project?
Yes, you are. Currently, Fieldwire is going to offer a maximum of 7 statuses. But my suggestion is if you need any additional type of fields or attributes to really leverage the custom task attribute feature and add your own. These features can also be filterable and reportable.
Awesome. As sheets are updated, will tasks be moved to the newer sheet? Like when you add new plan revisions?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. So I don't have any revised sheets here, but let's say that I have a bulletin number 1 that comes out. I slip sheet it. Any markups or any tasks that are pinned to these drawings are going to automatically migrate to the new layer.
Awesome. The next question we have is, are we able to make templates and reuse them? I think templates of your checklist, templates of your statuses and categories, can you make them and reuse them onto different projects?
Yeah, so actually you can, a couple of different ways you can do it is like Vince said, actually our checklists can be transferred to the account. So let's say I have a checklist that lives at the account level. I can actually import those into any individual project. That's one way of doing it. I can also clone this project as well. So if I wanted to create a new project, I can actually clone any existing project. So if I wanted to clone the project that I showed you guys today to keep all my checklists, my task reports, and all that kind of stuff, I'd be able to do so. So these are all the different features that would clone over from project to project.
Awesome. Vince, we have a question for you.
Ah,
Someone is asking, Glenn Thomas is asking Vince when the train is going to be ready to ride.
I knew that was going to happen.
It's 2030, but we're not installing the track. We're only doing the infrastructure for it.
Nice. Awesome. With this, we are at time. Thank you everyone for attending today and hope the session was useful. We would really appreciate if you can stay over for a couple of minutes and answer our survey, which is post this webinar. Again, thank you so much for attending today and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.